We are back in the garage, working on the 40. We've made some pretty good progress over the last couple days. A lot of it, fortunately, I have not documented because I've been just focused on productivity over content. New mirrors, installed those. Really crappy that I have to use the old hardware, it looks horrible, but new mirrors, super happy with that. Installed new felt material in the runners here, all the way around. And yeah, super happy with that. There was some stuff in there, it was really crappy and it was falling apart and it was letting the windows just rattle horribly. Obviously I still need to replace all of this, but having the windows rattle was just not acceptable right now. Also, have a little attention to detail. I put this back together. I was kind of in a rush and missed this, so I need to take this, split these two and take them back apart and get that fixed properly. I had discovered last time I set the truck up, there was this idle solenoid was not getting power, and now I have power going to it. Originally, I went off of the positive side on the coil and just ran a wire up across, down and over, but then I actually discovered that I have this wire here that is hot when I turn on the ignition, and so I just came off of this part of the harness and ran it over to this, and that's working. Tow cable installed. Not super thrilled with kind of the overall outcome. You might be able to see here, maybe straight down, the clamp is pinching the housing, not the brass part, which I think is a mistake. It doesn't feel like it should be that way. It feels like it's adding a lot of extra resistance to the cable. Yeah, but I don't know how to fix it because the distance between here and here, I can't change that. I can't make the cable longer or shorter. I need to make the cable longer. Housing was binding. The throttle linkage actually just ended up having to bend this a little bit and bend this over, and it lined up and it's working. So I kind of modified the exhaust to work for now. Actually just made a straight pipe out of it. That's the old one. Cut that one off and then just temporarily put this on with a couple of random pieces of metal. And I have an appointment on December 29th to drop this off and get a full exhaust put on it, which will be great. In the meantime here, and you can see I've already got the front grille off, and that's here. Also, I tried to get some paint and redo this logo. It might look okay on YouTube, but it really does not look very great. So I end up just ordering another one. So what I'm gonna try and show you here is I have a radiator fluid leak right where the light is. Right across the bottom here, there's fluid coming out. I don't think it's actually coming out from there because that's the gear cover. But I think the fluid is actually leaking from somewhere around the outside and dripping down and landing there at the end. And my guess is that it's because I reused the inner water pump gasket. So I just ordered a whole new water pump, and because I did order that gasket previously, and I got it and it doesn't fit. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but yeah. So that's the main project that we're gonna work on. And when we do that, I'm also going to replace the metal fan with this one here, which should be good. And then there's my new water pump. So I'll grab that and pop it on the bench, and let's see what's going on with it before I get too far. Also, another quick note, I found this stuff at the one of the local motorcycle dealers. It's foam filter cleaner and degreaser, and I was kind of curious about it, so I started reading the back label, and it's actually designed to work really well on concrete floors and other stuff too. So I have actually been using this to clean parts. It's worked out really well. It does a nice job. It actually leaves like a nice finish. It doesn't seem to like overly dry anything. So I've actually been using it to clean up spots on the floor, and it's worked really well for that. So yeah, if you're looking for something different to try to clean up for a degreaser, definitely give this stuff a shout. Oh, also other open-ended items that I need to do is this vent tube off of the valve cover. It just looks pretty bad. So we'll need to figure out how that's supposed to properly run. And then I need to get a clamp for this as well. And also rerouted the vacuum line for the vacuum advance. I feel like that looks a lot nicer than just running it over the top of the valve cover. And then what else? Oh, this thing. Here's a little vibration hour meter. And so now when the motor's running, I actually just have total time on the engine instead of just miles. That way, yeah, I don't know, in case anyone's counting. Okay, so that wasn't recording. So I just made an aluminum foil funnel, which will drop down into here. We're gonna use this drain petcock on the bottom of the radiator, let some fluid out, and then at that point I should be able to switch gears and then start taking some stuff up here. All right, so I have the coolant draining, as you can see here, and I'm trying to be really patient with this part because normally I end up getting coolant all over the floor and making just a complete mess because I'm not patient with this part and I just want to start ripping things apart. So I'm going to let that drain. All right, here's the new water pump that I just got. Here's what I ended up buying. I'm not sure if I love this water pump. You can kind of see right here, looks like a gap. And then if you look down on the inside, well, you can't see that yet because there's not enough light. But look down in there, you can see, well, I don't know if it's casting or what that's all about. But yeah, not super psyched about that. May end up just using this for parts. Fan shroud is loose. That's good. There's some sediment in there. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to get this fan shroud out of here, but I've never actually tried. My guess is that the answer is no. That back. Doing this should allow me easier access to these bolts for the fan. So let's try and get those back somehow. All right. Oh. When I loosen these bolts, I'm up against these fins. I just managed to pull out the fan, and now I should be able to slide this out as well. Let's put this down. Okay, now all this comes out too. I think I might take this and just cut this bottom piece off. That might actually allow me to put this on and take it off without dealing with the I don't know what I'm thinking. Maybe if I cut it in half here and then remove this piece, that would allow me to take it on and off. I don't know, we'll see. Before I go any farther, here's the new fan. I should just want to mock this up and see where we're at. Let's just fit on top of here. Can't never tell, to be honest. I also need to take the pressure off this. That's already pretty loose. Let me loosen up that. Cool. All right, now let's mop this up. That's going to be fine, but it's going to be very difficult to get bolts on, especially with the shroud on there. So, I think that has helped me make a decision. And that maybe we just need to take this out. And I really don't want to. But it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot left here, so maybe that's the call. Reach down here. Let's see if I can get this radiator tube here. Let's see how much fluid comes out. Whoops, it's gonna be a lot. All right, let's use some more foil and see if we can start to guide all this fluid. Over here, once this comes off. Oh, jeez. Wow. A ton of fluid. My feet are soaked. Wow, I just thought the way the radiator was dripping, it was dripping so slow. I was like, this is almost over. Not even close. Actually, it's my favorite. Radiator fluid is my favorite fluid of all fluids in the automotive industry. It's one of those things that's absolutely required for your engine and impossible to find some place to get rid of. Yeah. Unlike oil, also required, but very easy to find places to recycle, get rid of, etc. But nope, not radiator fluid. All right, I'll let that finish draining. And you can see, made a mess, absolute mess. Feet are nice and wet. That's great, good stuff. But here you can start to see a little bit better. I just pulled that off. I'm trying to make some more space, and this is gonna actually need to come out. So I guess it's a good thing all that fluid came out when it did, because it would have came out when I took this off anyway. So, but yeah, let's get this radiator pulled off. All right. Here we go. Radiator's out. If you haven't done this before, bolt here, bolt here. I get them from the bottom, find my way up from there. And I've used this extension, fairly long one. Makes it pretty doable. So, here is where we're seeing water leak. Oops, there you go. You can see it a little bit better. There's actually fluid getting in underneath of the paint here. If you can see that or not, I keep banging this around, but yeah, actually a little bit better without the light. So there's all fluid that was basically leaking down underneath the paint, which is pretty interesting, running down along here and then pooling up down at the bottom here where we saw it earlier. So yeah, somewhere along the lines looks like it just was not a great seal somewhere on this. So alright, so let's get this clamp loosened up. Go. Turn that up out of the way. I'm also having some leaks on the bottom here. So I'm going to take some time to see if I can clean up this connection too. 14 there. closer here. There we go. There we go. Yep. That's fun. Ah, what a mess. So right there, you can see we've got leftover gasket we're gonna have to clean up. Right here is where the fluid was leaking and coming in under the paint, and then working its way down here. So pretty crazy. I can do that. But here's the old gasket. Just take this off. Alright, so before I get too much further, I'm actually just gonna take a couple minutes with a little degreaser and just clean up this part. I hate having that residue over everything. Alright, so I'm just gonna start with a plastic scraper. See how much that'll take off. This is just a body tool, body panel removal tool, but it's plastic and it's a nice, I don't know, I just think it's a good easy first pass. All right, next up I've got some, basically like a Scotch-Brite pad. And this will kind of show me what I missed. All right, so I've been comparing and contrasting these two water pumps. This is that version, and this is a Gates. So this is much heavier duty. Feels like a better brand. This feels pretty light. Also not super thrilled with the construction, from like I pointed out before. So I think what I'm going to do is actually just try and find a new inner pump gasket for this, which is probably what I should have done from the first place. But this also had some residue in there that I didn't think was going to clean out. So let me try and find a new water pump gasket for this. And I think this one is just going to go back in the box. And then I also just noticed the heights here. They're very different. So I think this one, if I put this fan on here, I think I'm going to need to still use this weird spacer. But if this one goes on here, then no spacer is going to be required, because that's about the height difference is this thing. Hey, I'm back. Made a decision to just go ahead and use this water pump. Did some research, seems like it's going to work fine, so I'm not going to stress about it. I don't want to wait anymore. Do not want to order any more parts. So let's get right into installing this thing. So here's what I've done so far. I've cleaned the back of the water pump with 91% IPA alcohol, and then went over here, got the block cleaned up. I've got sealant on there. It kept dribbling out, a little bit of coolant kept dribbling out, so I just threw a jack underneath the pumpkin, jacked it up, tipped the engine back a little bit, so that'll keep the coolant from falling forward and ruining my little work there. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed. Here are the old bolts. When I ordered the water pump, I ordered all new bolts to go in there. This should be the bolt that's the longest one. That is for the alternator support bracket. And then, yeah, we have our gasket, which came in decent shape. There's a little bit of a crease, actually, right there in the center of the screen. You can probably just see it. It's not a rip, it's just a crease. It wasn't like the gasket was folded, but it's like the way it was made. So, but yeah, I think that's what the sealant's for. So, yeah, so we'll go ahead and we'll get this get this put in. Let's get our gasket on, which we'll do. Get ready to put this one in. Thread sealant on these bolts. And now let's check. This bracket's gonna go right there. This bolt can go down here. Okay, I don't know what the recommended torque spec is. I was just checking the field service manual. I didn't see it in there. I'm probably just overlooking it, but so I'm just gonna tighten these to an appropriate amount. How this is gonna look on here and how this is gonna fit. Well, that doesn't look too bad. Okay, so I just realized something. This pump isn't gonna actually work because this doesn't allow this to line up properly. It's too far out, so it's on an angle. So I'm screwed. I can't use that pump. So good work putting that on. Now you're gonna have to take it off and figure out how to use the old pump or get a gasket, which is super annoying. Ugh. Okay, so when I thought before, I was pretty annoyed and very, very frustrated because I was trying to, I realized that the belt wasn't lining up properly because the new water pump was taller, it was longer than the other one, so I was running into fitment issues with the belt and weird angles and all that kind of stuff. Thankfully, I ended up finding this box of gaskets and all kinds of stuff, and I found an extra inner water pump gasket. And so, sorry I didn't film it, but I went ahead and just worked on putting this all back together. And the only thing I have left here to do is the alternator bolt. And then at that point, I can go ahead and, yeah, we can put the new fan on and start to put everything back together. So, crisis semi-averted. Okay, so I think if I can remember, these three of the bolts are one size, and then the other bolt is a little bit bigger, 17. So pretty sure that's normal. With the, it wasn't like that on my original setup, but I feel like the first time I took it apart, it was like that. And then I feel like maybe I tried to change it at some point, thinking that I would outsmart Toyota, but yeah, no. Cool. Okay, so that's there. Okay, there. I don't know where it went, but yeah, this is the little adapter that goes on to the front here, and then there's these bolts. Yeah, I have 3. Not sure where the other one went, so let me find that. Okay, found the bolts. Sort of. Kind of realizing these aren't a perfect set that were in there, but that'll have to do for now. So I wonder if we would actually need this spacer or not. Looks like it's a little close to the water pump. Doesn't seem like that would be a good fit. I honestly don't think these bolts are going to work. Yeah, I guess they would. Alright. There's kind of some slop there. It's a little bit different size. That's the exact size. So, yeah, this part, bolts are kind of loose inside here. I mean, I don't know, seriously, for everything that's been going on with this project, I'm not surprised to find that something I thought would work didn't. For this one. this one's lined up. Nope. The bolt's not getting any purchase. There it is. Purchase. There it goes. Right, both felt pads are still on there, which is good. Okay. Oh no! Stop! Stop! Did this last time when I assembled this. Forgot the rad shroud. Cannot forget that. Oh no, it's upside down. How did that happen? Unbelievable. This gets to get spun. Nope, wrong way. There we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. Cool. Make sure we got all of our stuff here. There's one pad. Oh no, where's the other pad? Fell. Whoa! My hand. What happened to the other pad? Yep, found it. Working up a sweat. Bingo. Just gonna pop that on for a little extra security so that doesn't go anywhere. Together. Because having the front bumper off is clutch. I feel like you can get so much closer to the truck. Okay. Okay, so I've got the 2 bolts that come up from the bottom that are like here and here. Those are on, tightened. I use nylock nuts on those. And then the next thing is tightening down all the holds, the shroud cover holder here thing. The radiator shroud. Had to work on that. One thing that I have found pretty impressive with working on this truck, and for anyone who's kind of feeling maybe they would want to do something like this but are intimidated, I only have a set of basic tools, sockets, box wrenches, yeah, that's pretty much it. Pliers, cutters, screwdrivers. I did end up buying the Japanese industrial standard, the JIS screwdrivers. They're much better fit for a lot of parts, so highly recommend getting a set of those. I don't really feel like you needed that much tools that are like that special. And you can do a lot of this with just a basic toolkit. All right, next up is this junction here. I kind of wish Toyota would have just done one piece, but there's some years have heat, some models, places, whatever, they have heat. So the heater, I guess, was set up to run off of this. So I'm just going to loosen these. So here's the coupler that we're looking at. This is kind of a mess. Maybe it was leaking because I never got rid of this. So let's get rid of that now. Let's just run this to like right there. Okay, right over that lip. All right, we'll leave this on. Actually, I should probably, well, no, it's all right. like an extension when you don't need one. All right, watch out for the car. So I've got a bunch of the stuff I'll put back together. Had to take a little break from filming, and I also don't feel like all that film was not all that great anyway. I think the water pump part was the only part I really wanted folks to maybe see in case it was helpful. Hoses are all put back on. I was cleaning up that junction. That's all back together, cleaned up. I've installed it in this time with more space between the two rubber pieces. I had them smashed together before, and I think that was just making it hard for it to seal. So I spaced them out and matched them up with the little ribs on the spacer. Something I also did too, you might be able to see it down here, is I ran my alternator power wire around the front of the truck. That way I don't have to have it coming up across the back. To me, it's just trying to keep the back as clean as possible. It just felt like this was an easy, nice way to route it. So yeah, so I just did that. And then I found additional seal on the air cleaner, believe it or not, totally different subject, but I found a little base seal that goes under the air cleaner. So on the air cleaner, I have this F style air cleaner on basically like a newer carb, and there's a little aluminum spacer that helps to adapt this to fit on top of that appropriately. And underneath the aluminum spacer, there was just aluminum on carb. So now I have a little rubber seal that goes between the carb and the aluminum spacer, and then I have another rubber seal on top. So hopefully that should make it more airtight and reduce any potential air gaps or anything like that. So next thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to leave this dry. I'm not going to put any coolant in it tonight or today. I'm going to let this settle for a little bit. Let this hopefully tack up, maybe dry overnight, and then I'll put coolant in there. And then I'm just going to tighten up the belt for the alternator and get that set, because that's a little bit loose right now. And then tighten down the alternator bracket bolt as well once I have that set. So, all right, cool. Well, thanks for tuning in. This has been quite the roller coaster as always. And yeah, I hope you learned something, maybe inspired. And yeah, happy holidays. Bye.